Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another reflection. Today I got with me Miss Lee. Hello, Lee. How are you doing?
Hello, Caro. I'm doing great today. Thanks.
You excited?
I am. I'm excited.
So I did invite Lee a long time ago to come and chill with me because I had a dream catcher for her, and I wanted her to come on my channel. But the relation that I have with Lee after that, it, what we're going to talk about has its place here on the Grass Legacy. She's going to give us her testimony on how Patrick has influenced her life. But first, I got to remind you guys that if you want to see and read the transcript for Ask Patrick and Talking with the Planet, it's in the description box. You're going to have the link of Lee blog where you can find all that, and you can translate in 103 language. So no excuses. It can even include Japanese, and it's very cool to look at, but don't understand a word. And also her email. If you have question for her, you got the email to reach Lee. So is that okay with you?
That's just fine with me.
You're ready to see your dream catcher?
I am so excited to see my dream catcher. I've
You
been
want
waiting.
you want to try to guess what color I've choose?
I think either it's red or yellow.
How about you mix both? Ready?
I am.
Orange.
Oh, that's my color, Caroline. I'm a Gemini. Oh my goodness, that's so incredibly beautiful.
Now you see this design here? A lot of people could be scared of it. Let me
No,
remove
I'm
my
not.
hand.
I'm
Well,
not.
this to me is the trilogy. This is you in the center, and you got your musketeer around you.
Exactly. I'm Irish, so that means a lot to me, that trilogy, that trinity in there. It
And,
means a lot.
and you got the trilogy again with these small ring.
That is so incredibly beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I can't believe all the time you put in that, Caroline. Oh my gosh. And the color, I love it. It's perfect. Orange is the color for a Gemini birth sign.
And you never told me
No, I
what
never said a
what
word.
color because I told you
No.
don't tell me nothing. I already have it set in my mind, and let's see how it's gonna go.
Right. That is so fabulous. That is so fabulous. I can't thank you enough, darling. It is so beautiful. My heart is fluttering. It's
I'm
so beautiful.
shaking. I'm so happy you like it.
It's so gorgeous. Okay, I want to hang with the
Yeah,
rest of the famous people in back then.
that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm not gonna be able to hear you, so
No, that's fine.
if you say anything, I won't hear it.
That's fine. I'll talk to the people online.
All right.
This is a very exciting moment for me to have Caroline honor me with my dream catcher up. Oh, I just love it. It's so beautiful that she made it orange, which is my birth color, is fabulous. I love that so much. She's fantastic lady, for sure. So look how beautiful that looks up there. Wow. Can you believe it? I love it. She can't hear me. So, oh, I look good up there. It's fabulous. That's so fabulous.
How's that?
It's fabulous. I am so honored to be having my dream catcher up there.
And this is a mix of, you know, a mix of three type of feathers. You got a small one here, black and with orange dot, a white one, and then an orange one.
Fabulous. It's so beautiful. I can't thank you enough, sweetheart. It is so beautiful.
I like
I
it.
love it. I love it. You are fabulous. Oh,
Well,
God.
thank you very much.
I love it. So,
All
wow. I
right.
feel so honored to be up there with the rest of the gang. The
Oh,
gang.
thank you. It's my honor,
Oh,
actually,
golly.
because if you would have said no, I would not have done the dream catcher. So it's a good thing you said yes.
Yeah.
You ready for your first question, darling?
Yeah, I'm ready. Shoot.
All right. First question: how did you meet Patrick?
Well, this is probably the same answer just about everybody has. I first met Patrick on the 27th of November, 2018.
Well, I get to see here. You're the only one that remember the date.
Well, I wrote it down.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
it
the
was
first talking with the planet, eh?
exactly. It was a big date for me. So it was the 27th of November, and in 2018 now. And it was on the R. Wayne Steiger show. And Wayne has got a pretty big name out there, and a lot of people watch him. And I was immediately fascinated. I've always been fascinated with planet stuff and kind of like, esoteric stuff. So it just that program just hit me in the heart, right away. So that's when I first learned about Patrick Garratt.
You like my cup?
Love that. Uranus would love that cup.
Uranus love that cup. I can tell you that.
I tell you, it's a good thing. Oh.
So, what was your reaction when you saw the very first show? How you were amazed, but beside that,
Um,
did you feel anything special? Like, I don't know.
I don't get. I'm not. I'm a simple person. You
Yeah.
know me well enough now to know I'm easygoing, simple. My abilities are blooming probably, but not as strong as like a lot of other people. And, for those of you that don't believe in abilities, trust me, we all have them. You need to nurture them. So, I didn't really get any of those, like, ooh, I'm tingling or anything like that. But, it was so the information was so startling. I mean, it was startling to have slow because Patrick was just getting started with really getting going with his pendulum. So they were answered kind of slowly as Patrick got going, but the answers were startling, blah, 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 and eye opening. I mean, it was like, oh, wow. I mean, you couldn't believe. And as the show went on till the end went,
Yeah,
and they really got startling. Things really got startling.
yeah.
So no, I really didn't get any like, warm and fuzzy maybe, but not any moments.
So, at what point you subscribed to Patrick's channel?
Right the minute Wayne was done, I was like, I gotta go get that dude. I like that dude. I got to go find his channel. So immediately, I'm the kind of person that quit over the air TV. I don't have over. I might quit cable TV. I have over the air, and I hardly ever watch TV. I mostly watch YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do. And so I thought, wow, this will give me one more thing. Like I need another thing to watch on YouTube, but it'll give me something else to go off and learn about. oh, fabulous. I mean, it was fabulous right away. The channel just delighted me. And as time went on, you know how it's progressed. So
Right,
we'll get
right.
to that.
And when you go on Patrick's channel, then at that point he was doing a live stream, and he was going on his own in the chat room. He would get those questions there. At that point, he was starting to struggle. And did you ask any question
I
during those show?
one time I asked a question, maybe about the second show, um, and I didn't start transcribing Patrick right away. But then it dawned on me, wow, I should write this guy's stuff down too. We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
But I did ask one question, and I didn't, it was kind of like the stock question, which after it got going, got very annoying. I didn't ask, is there a message for me from Source? I asked if there was a message for me from Jerry Pat. My husband's name was Gerald Patrick, and so it was shortened to Jerry Pat, we would call him. And Patrick tried to answer the question. He got a little confused. I never got an answer. We couldn't connect with Jerry. And then we had to straighten out that about the name thing. That was Jerry Pat.
right.
I wasn't talking to Patrick, who he thought I was calling him
Well,
Pat.
at the moment, I was working with Patrick when you asked that question, because
Right.
I remember actually it must have been my mistake, because I was thinking that at the end, Pat is like you asking Pat, right? So,
Well, I think it was confusing. You know, if
right.
I could have. The problem with the questions, as you know, as we went along, the questions should be very specific. And it
Yes,
wasn't specific enough. I should have said, my husband's name was Gerald Pat. We called him Gerald Patrick. We called him Jerry Pat. And is there a message for me from Jerry Pat?
right,
And then it would have been clear as a bell.
right. That's right. And okay, so you watch Talking with the Planet and you're amazed. You're on the first show, you go subscribe to Patrick. But at what moment you decide to start writing the transcript for Talking with the Planet? Did you just wake up like that in the morning and say, "Oh, I should do transcript for them"? And I mean, you could do transcript for a trillion of channel on, but you choose that channel, you choose the show specifically, and you started to do the transcription of the question and answer that they were getting. So at what moment you decide, okay, this is important and we need a transcription, and I'm the one that's going to do it?
I think it was, well, right after the show, I went and subscribed to Patrick to see what he really was about, which, I mean, you know what he's about now.
Right,
So, and Wayne's show here, where I am in the United States, his show goes on for me in my time zone at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's for an hour. So it ends at 3 o'clock. So right after I went there and sat and looked at Patrick's stuff for a while, and then I puttered around the house for a while and got my dinner and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was kind of like in the evening, I was sitting watching maybe a couple more YouTubes, and I went back to the Talking with the Planets again and started listening to it again. And I thought, I got to write this down. This stuff is explosive. I need to write it down. So I
so
went.
at the beginning it was just for your own needs to
Yeah,
write
well,
it down.
it started out like that. That's exactly how it started out. I thought, I need to write this down. I might want to look at this again sometime.
Right,
And I went and puttered around and found a notebook that I could write it in. And because I need to sit down with the computer and YouTube and write it handwritten out. You know, it's handwritten. And then I did the whole show, and I went, and it started different than it ended up. So, I did just the questions and answers and no timestamps or anything. It was just for my own, it was for me. But then I wrote it down. I took and looked at it all and read it over and read it over. And all of a sudden I thought, geez, I wonder if Wayne would really get a kick out of having a copy of this. Just for S's and G's. I won't say what that means. You know what it means, probably. I thought, okay, I'll email it to him. He probably won't give a crap because, he's Wayne. Who cares? Whoa, next morning, boom. Wow, there's a thing. Whoa, I can't believe you wrote this down. I don't think I shared it with Patrick right away. Maybe I shared it the next day or two. Or maybe it was until the next talking with the planets on the next week where I went, wow, I should share this with Patrick too. It says these answers. So that's kind of how that came about. And how, in my heart, I thought, right after the show, I thought, wow, that's some great stuff. But then later, it really was it was a feeling in my heart that this is something that's fabulous that maybe I need to write down for later reference. And then, of course, it got spread to the world.
Yeah. Well, that was a sprint, seriously, because when I started to work with Patrick, then he told me that you might need help with the transcript, and that's how you at that point you you started to do the transcript for as Patrick after I came in, right?
I think there's a couple before you. I think there's a couple of them before you.
Okay.
And very early. And, as we went along, it was a complicated job, and people probably don't realize that. But it's really complicated to do transcripts. And then Caroline so graciously I would send them to everybody, and Caroline would help me with the proofreading of them. And trust me, some of her proofreading,
even though I'm French,
it's hilarious because she's French.
Yeah. And Patrick called me the crazy French lady.
Yeah. So some of but it's a huge help. And she would pass me the chat room questions first, which would really help. And you could see if you read the transcripts, how that worked. But I think we made a good team and we had it under control. And we hope maybe someday we'll do it again.
Well, when I start sending you the question, when I had the question before the show, that must have helped you tremendously.
Immensely. Because I could, I put it in a document and then I didn't type it. I still always hand wrote everything off of YouTube, and then I would type it later. But that took a lot of work, and I'm old, so my hand was like hurting.
Yes.
And I'm amazed that this still amazes me when I think about it right now. Show number 10 was aired fine and everything was great. And for some reason, I don't know, it must have been the universe. For some reason, right after that show, I went, wow, I think I'll do that one right now. I'm going to do it right now. So I went and got my notebook and sat down and immediately after the show and transcribed the whole show. Well, let me tell you, something happened and Wayne's channel got attacked. Wayne had a little attack moment. Somebody didn't like whatever happened and wanted to shut him off, or something bad happened.
Yeah.
And he lost that show. That video was no longer there. But
we got the transcript.
Transcript is it was so serendipitous. I don't know. It was like, wow, holy cow. So
that was a blessing because the video is gone.
Yeah.
for real,
Yeah.
forever.
No video.
But because you decided to do the transcript right away after the show, which you don't normally do, right?
Oh, no, no, I'd usually the next morning, the next morning with coffee, I'd sit and transcribe. Some of those transcripts they would take 6 hours, easy,
Oh
easy.
yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. I mean, it's an all day job.
Oh yeah.
So, and I'm waiting for the tea. I'm waiting for my tea.
Don't know what you're talking about.
If anybody ever listened to the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Bad. Well, so many people that probably would get it that listen to the show.
so so what is the most important message you get from all this experience with Patrick?
Hmm. Wow. You didn't give me any time to really think about that one. I think for me, it's that there's been a lot of lost or hidden knowledge purposely from humanity. And if you keep an open mind and an open heart, your heart is where all things come from, then definitely definitely information to learn that will expand your universe. I mean, and for me, it's like, wow, I mean, some of those questions and answers, you gotta remember.
Yeah.
Right.
But
They're
in the meantime, you work on talking with the planet transcript, and then you start working on Ask Patrick, was much more easier because
yeah,
there were much
yeah.
more question.
Well, it started out Ask the Rods and Pendulums, and
Right.
then past Patrick changed his
Yeah.
name to Ask Patrick. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So,
That was kind of like we did 5 show Ask Patrick,
right.
but that was the goal when I started with him anyway.
Right.
And but the overall, like, do you, do you feel like there's one thing that comes all the time in the answers, something?
Well, yes, the main message for all of us is to not, live in the moment. Live in the moment. Live now. Now. Don't think about, wow, next week I've got to do this, or yesterday I did this. It's futile. There's no fruitfulness in that at all. Live in the moment. Live without fear, no matter what crap is happening. There's like the world is in turmoil right now. The United States is in huge turmoil. Canada's in turmoil. France is in huge turmoil. Somebody's trying to start World War III in Venezuela or China or Iran. Who knows? Don't worry about that crap. It says in the Bible, and if you read it, and it's a historical book. I don't base everything on it, but it's a historical book. It says in there, you're going to get wars and rumors of wars. I said Jesus, whoever that guy was, it's a concept. The concept is don't worry about it.
Right.
So, and then the greatest thing is the greatest thing. Live with love. Live with love.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
In
Love.
every decision we make, we need to make our decision based on love. Just like,
Exactly.
how did you reacted when I think it was Neptune, I'm not sure, but we were told by one of those planets that there's great issue coming up, and that if we can start storage food and water, now it's a good time. So how did you feel when you got that answer? Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yes, I remember it. I'm like, I have a lot of stored food. I'm not a prepper, Uh, but I have a lot of stored food just because I have it. And now I can't eat it because it's canned beans and stuff that's not ketogenic. And I do a ketogenic lifestyle. So it's like, okay, if the power goes out and I'm starving, I'll eat beans because you got to stay alive with something.
Right.
So I have a lot of food, but no matter what happens, I'm like ready to go. I'm ready.
Move on.
I'm like done with this crap here, being human. And I'm not going to kill myself or anything like that, but I'm done. Everybody that I love is over there. They're
So
on the other side.
when you go on the other side, if somebody is come to you and propose to you to come back, what you gonna say?
I'm going to be, we were told, stamp a big no on your forehead. And I'm writing it down. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not coming back here. I hate it here. I'm done. I don't care if I've been here 2,000 times. This crap is over for me. I'm moving on. I want to move on. I want a different experience. From the Pleiades, Taygeta. I want to go back home, see those people, and move along.
Right.
So I'm done.
It's like, as for me, I feel sorry for any frequency that's gonna come to me and ask me if I want to come back. Just ask me. I feel sorry for
Yeah.
them. So
Carol and Lee frequency say no.
no, ain't coming back.
No.
So, but what if they show you a contract?
Uh,
That ain't my signature. I don't sign like that. Let me get my lawyer.
yeah, I'm getting a good lawyer when I pass over. Get me out of it. You can get out of anything.
So, talking with the planet and Ask Patrick. Well, at the end it was Ask Patrick. Before it was something else, but we're just gonna go with that.
Right.
Did it inspire you for doing something out of your comfort zone, something you never thought to do?
I don't know. You know who knows? I'm not even sure what my comfort zone is.
Okay.
I've kind of
So-
always been a little off the cuff.
Okay,
So
before Patrick, what did you think of pendulum and rod and stuff like that?
I mean, all right. So this kind of goes. Caroline gave me an outline, and I know some of the questions ahead of time, so you have to forgive me here. This kind of goes with the last thing that Caroline wanted me to answer. If I could go back to the very moment where all this kind of started.
No, that's not that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know, but it kind of goes along with it.
Okay.
Because I don't know when that moment was, because when I was a kid, I had a fabulous childhood, unlike a lot of people, and I'm really blessed about that. We would have pajama parties. You know, the girls would all get together, a little group of girls.
I've seen that on TV. Not that I
No,
had any,
true.
but
It actually really happened. We all had some clicky crap, you know. And I'm not we weren't rich, but with money, we were rich with love at my house.
right.
But I kind of got in the clicky group. I don't know how. I guess it was fate. So we would have overnight parties, and what the heck? Somebody would always bring a Ouija board.
No.
Oh, golly. I mean, I'm talking, here we are, maybe 12 years old. We were probably 12 or so when we started having these crazy overnight parties. And I don't know, the group of girls there was anywhere from 8 to 15 of us at any given time that would go to these overnight parties. So you'd have a big group, and we would giggle and ask that, stupid teenage questions. Ooh, does Tom love me? Ooh, can't answer at this time. And it's just, you thought it was a game, but people don't realize that's not a game. You can get a lot of trouble with a Ouija board. We never did. We never did. But yeah, okay. So yeah, I started out like that, so that started early with me. Then I distinctly remember when I got pregnant young. I had my kids young. I recommend it. I was 19 when I had my first kid and 23 when I had my second one. Have them young, get it out of the way, and then have fun. So, so I was still young, and we still had that same group of girls, even though we'd all gone to college or got a job or whatever we were doing. And I was pregnant with my first kid, and I thought, wow, I remember somebody telling me to get the thread with the needle on it. And I can't remember which one is which, but if it went in a circle, it was like either male or female. And if it went back and forth, it was male or female. And I remember doing that for both my kids. I
Okay.
mean, I got the needle and thread and said, "Hey, Jerry, watch this. Let's do this." And he was like, "Oh, you're so full of crap. That's evil." I was like, "Oh, screw you. It's not evil." And it answered, and it answered correctly for both my children, both times. So I never
Wow.
played with that. And I did go to a fortune teller once, which was me and my daughter. We went. It was interesting, but what a scam! Because immediately after the fortune teller, which she was pretty spot on with however they do it. Generically they do something, those fake ones. And she was probably a fake one because immediately it was like, "Oh, you'll need to come back." Of course, I need to spend more money. I need to come every day.
Yeah.
So we never did that again. We laughed and did that. And I did. I'm not superstitious, but in my 40s, a medicine chest fell off. My late 40s, a medicine chest fell off the wall, and the mirror shattered all over my bathroom. And I immediately got the darkest feeling over me that something horrible was going to happen, and it did. My husband passed just like that immediately. I mean, and it probably was within 6 months of that falling off the wall. So I've always had kind of like an edge you know,
Of
uh,
the ability.
of the ability, an edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you experiment the pendulum with your children as you are pregnant to find out their gender.
the needle and thread, the pendulum. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a form of a pendulum.
That's
And,
right.
what decided, um, because I know she's started to work on pendulum, but got you to start trying to work your pendulum?
Oh, it was so fascinating. It was fascinating watching Patrick. What was really fascinating was watching him progress because he started so. It's not really. I can't say slow. I mean, it started
It
off.
was very slow
It was,
because as
yeah,
I'm downloading his video on his channel, I get to see the very first live stream video he made,
yeah,
and it was spelling letter by letter, word by word,
yes,
and after every word, it would put his pendulum down, write it down, and start with the next word.
right,
It was a very long process for a
right,
short message.
right. So, that was fascinating. And then watching the progression right till the end, where he went, "I don't need this," and put the pendulum down and said, "Just ask away." And a lot of questions, deceased loved ones or pets. It took it took a lot of energy out of Patrick, and it took a lot of energy. But you could see the progression of how intense it was that he doesn't channel. Patrick's not a channeler. He'd get a feeling about the message, and it would just flow right out of him. I mean, fabulous. And I thought, maybe I can do that. And right away, as soon as Patrick on one of the shows said, oh, and this is if you want one of these charts, just email me. And I thought, well, I'll email and get a chart. So I got it, and I play with it sometimes. I play with it. I practice with it, but not on a regular basis. I have my little pendulum, and mine is an amethyst on a string. I like an amethyst. I think it's a nice gemstone. It's full of energy from me. I cleansed it like you're supposed to. I made energy for myself under my pillow, and it hangs with my husband right now because uh, after I put it over there on his picture and let it hang there for about a week, I did get a message from him. So it's like, whoo, So I leave it hanging on him in case I want to talk to him. But I don't practice with it as much as I fool with my rods.
Yeah, you got new rods.
I do. I do.
Tell me about those rods.
Those rods. Now, you probably remember that day because Caroline and we were having a group chat, Caroline and Patrick, and maybe Ruth from Kindred Spirit Tarot. I don't think she was on that call right then, though. But we were talking about rods, and maybe Patrick was. And if you've ever seen Patrick use his rods, it's hilarious. They're real long, and they can slap him in the head. And so we were talking about rods and making rods, and the three of us. And all of a sudden, and I mean, I was just sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, a little light bulb went on in my little pea brain, and it went, ding, you've got some copper. You've got copper. And I said, wait a minute. And I got up, and I don't know if you remember me doing it. I went up and I got a piece of this copper. Let me tell you, the copper came from, I had a well redone on my property, and it had big, heavy wire with copper in the middle of it. And so I had all these pieces that I picked up a few of them, and I went, wow, that's kind of cool. I like that wire. Maybe I'll use that copper for something someday, jewelry, or I like to craft. So maybe I'll make a craft out of it. And I thought, man, that's pretty substantial, that copper wire. So I got up from our chat and I ran out and got a couple of those pieces of wire and showed it to Patrick and you. And you went, you could make rods out of that. And I thought, yeah, I could.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the coating, we discussed how to get that coating off. And and the coating came right off, and I made rods.
Look at that.
I have rods. Now, they're not fancy at all.
No.
They're rods. I'll show you how unfancy they are. They're substantial, though, and just hand bent. So it's a piece of copper, hand bent.
Oh, okay. So you kept that part.
No.
Oh, what is the red?
I took all of the coating off all the rod, bent the rod, and held onto it, and went, wow, I need something that when you're using rods, they need to be flowing freely like
right,
this.
Right.
Okay? So I thought, well, what the heck am I going to do for that? And it's probably not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing. These are straws. This is a piece of straw.
Okay.
That's a piece of straw. And for a little bit while, I had just that, and I thought, well, the straw keeps falling off. The straw keeps falling off. That's annoying. And so this part is an eraser off of a pencil to keep the straw from falling off. And they work just fine. I'm not going to use them right here on the show for anybody, but Caroline knows they're working just fine. They answer really well.
They almost hit her in her face.
I was answering. I watch Jeffrey Doherty every once in a while, even though he can be the most, you have to excuse me, Jeff, but pompous ass online. And he uses rods. And he had his rods out the other day. And I thought, well, I'm getting my rods with him. And every time he'd ask a question and answer it, I'd ask the same thing and answer it. And then I'd type in the chat box what my rod said.
So were you getting the same answer?
Not always. No, I'd have to go back and look at the chat box. But then one of his mods, Tracy Dyer, she was like, wow, she got her rod. We could have just an Ask the Rod on somebody's Oh, it's hilarious. So, I mean, trust me, I'm nobody special. In that you would look at me and you wouldn't think, wow, you're nobody special.
Well,
But
just like me, just like Patrick, just
yeah,
like everybody, we're just people.
to source, so, if you never get one thing in your life, you need to remember that you are source. Source is you. Christ is in your head. He ain't out there. Jesus is not coming back on a cloud. He lives inside you. He clearly told you that. The kingdom of God is within. But
Yeah,
people don't get it. They think it's something else. But
yeah.
anyway, on that note, I would encourage everybody, make rods, find somebody that would make them for you. Jeffrey Doherty makes them and sells them. I mean, he will sell you a pair. They are fun and fabulous and accurate. They're accurate. Make them, use them.
Did
Everybody has the ability. Everyone has the ability.
did
It's
you did you try it on your land? See if there were a treasure buried something?
ooh no, but don't give me ideas.
Yeah, well, why not? Just in case.
Now it was fascinating. Just on a little side note, I remember when I moved to here where I live in the middle of nowhere in September of 2012, and in August, I think it was either in July or August, I called up this guy. I just went in the yellow pages and called a guy with a yellow page ad in that was close to me in to come and look at my well because I needed to get my well fixed. And that guy came over, and he's a delightful young man. To me, he's a young man. He's probably in his mid-30s, and oh, delightful young man. And I remember him getting out of the truck and shaking my hand and talking and walking around. And he remembered that his grandfather installed the well on this property.
Oh,
So, I mean, that was fabulous. I thought, wow, I got the right guy. And he said, just a second, I got to go get a tool. And he went and he got his divining rods. And I was like, you really use those things? I mean, in 2012, I was kind of hovering on the edge of getting out of the religious moment because it was like I had a lot of questions, and the priest at my church, they didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to answer them. So, but then my well guy, Kenneth, he went and got his divining rods, and we went around, and he actually used. So I was like fascinated because I remember I used to do that when I was a kid. My dad was fabulous. He was a Silver Beaver Award in the Boy Scouts, the highest award you can get, and fascinating guy. Always time for his kids. And we would go around the backyard. He said, watch this. Watch this really works. He'd go get a stick with the correct Y on it, and we'd whittle it. And it would be a project for the afternoon. And then we'd go around the yard divining for water. And it always worked. I mean, so and that memory just came up right now. I remember doing that with my dad. It was fabulous. Thank you, Daddy. I love you.
so his rod were working.
Yeah, yeah, his always were working.
All
Fabulous.
right.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So my next question would be, if you could go back in time, the very moment where you start, where, well, talking with the planet started, if you could go back in time and had the opportunity to change something, would you change anything?
uh, I don't know. This was a hard question. If I could turn back time. I have a song for everything. So
Cheer.
Cher's coming through right now. Cher. Woo. Look, it wasn't sweet Caroline.
Caroline.
Da,
Bam,
da,
bam,
da.
bam.
I would. I don't know. I think the only thing I might change would be Probably to practice more. That
Okay.
would probably be the only change I would make. I mean, I, I can't think of anything I'd really change. I really wouldn't change anything in my life much, except for the day that my husband passed. If I could change that, I sure would, because I really would get a kick out of him still being here. He was a fun guy to be married to and a character. So that's probably it. I would probably just practice more. I practice more with my rods than I do with the pendulum. I, I have, you know, I'm a Gemini, so like, you know, you never know which twin I am. For one thing, my kids are always, oh, which Lee am I talking to today? So uh, it's like I have a short attention span with things, and I have projects going all over unfinished, and I do finish them, but they're everywhere, all over the house. And so it's like, okay, I did the rods, and I get frustrated with the pendulum because it doesn't spell out stuff for me as fast as I want it to. So short attention span woman, that drives me nuts. So I don't practice with that as often.
Yeah, and there's a way to practice this. The pendulum. You need to start by controlling it by doing circle and going
Yeah.
the other way, and then
Yep.
yes and no. You
Yep.
can't go just straight to the question and expect to have answers right
Right.
away.
Right. I've watched how to do it, and
Yeah.
I protect myself, and then I try to do whatever I'm supposed to do. But
Do you
like
burn sage?
no, I don't. But I usually, yeah, I usually have a really long burning candle on every day.
Yeah.
I love listening to my tarot reading from Kindred Spirit, Ruth at Kindred Spirit Tarot daily. Now, I'm a little nervous about her today because she did one yesterday, but for the 8th of May, but she didn't do one today that I saw. So I'm
Yeah, today I seen the one
from
oh
yesterday. So
oh
she
she
hasn't done.
uploaded that one today.
Well, I'm a little nervous about that. Well, you know that she's
Yeah,
got a sick horse, and so
yeah.
she's she's busy. So now, see, look, I lost my train of thought. I love it when that happens. Being in the room, what am I doing in this room? What did I come here for?
Okay, so tell me uh, how Patrick has influenced your life. If you could say it like in a sentence, what's the biggest influence he had on you besides using your pendulum and the rods?
Hmm. I think the biggest influence is how much love Patrick has in his heart, and you know, we all feel
Yeah,
bad for Patrick right now, and how much sincere love he has is an inspiration to all of us. That's probably the biggest influence that I have from him.
to give without asking in return,
Exactly.
service to other.
Exactly.
And the biggest, I downloaded this channel, and the biggest gift we can give him in respond is actually to show that there is a legacy, that there is people that pick up their pendulum, that pick up their rods or their tarot card, or even creating a song on their guitar, especially for Patrick and stuff
Exactly.
like that. You know,
Exactly.
that's how he has attracted to him all the good energy, even though Patrick is going through a very rough time right now. Uh,
The roughest time. The roughest time.
roughest
The
time.
loss of a spouse is the roughest time you can ever go through.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's taken a long time.
Yes, it
It's
is. So
And
if anybody's watching, Patrick, as far as we know, has not lost Angie yet, but it's right on the edge, and it's very, very hard to go through that.
right. So we if you agree with me right now, we can take a 60-second moment and just breathe in and send Patrick and Angie positive energy to get through this, because this is something inevitable. It's happening. And if anything, they need our energy to raise their vibration,
Exactly.
to stay in the love, to
Exactly.
live in the now. And as they receive it, it's going to make them stronger to go through hell. This is how it is for me. So, Patrick, with all my love, as I always say,
And
Lee,
with all my love, also, Patrick and Angie.
and from everybody that's watching this reflection, we love you, we think of you, and we wish the best for you.
Amen. For sure.
I hope you guys did enjoy this reflection with the woman behind the transcript that we never knew of. Now we all do know. And thank you very much, Lee, for doing this for
My pleasure.
Patrick. I really do appreciate that, and hopefully that you did like it.
My pleasure. It was fun. I encourage anybody that Carol asks on her channel. It's delightful to be with her. And look at that dream catcher.
Look at that. My wall is getting full.
What a beauty. And I'm honored to be on it. Thank you so much, darling.
So when I get rich, I'll send it to you.
Okay. It's a
It
deal.
is yours, and it will remain there as long as I'm poor.
It'll change. We're all working on that for you.
Yes, I'll be rich soon. I will clean my place and raise my vibration. And this is all it's all about. When you live in the now, in the love, when of course we have to think of tomorrow and stuff like that. And we here on reflection, we think about yesterday, we live a bit in the past. But in the meantime, we live in the now, in the love. Right
Mhm,
now, I am
mhm.
love. Right now, I got a roof. Right now, I got water.
Uranus water.
Best water ever.
Gratitude. It's probably the biggest emotion that you can send to the universe and comes back to you.
Right.
Gratitude.
Gratitude
Important.
is the key.
It's important.
All right. So
All right.
I hope
It's
you
been
had a
fun,
good
everybody.
time. And Patrick, we love you. Enjoy and watch it whenever time you have. Bye bye,
Thank you,
YouTube.
Carol.
Bye,
Good night. Bye,
Lee.
friends. I love you.
Bye.